Hello there guys, welcome to one of my live videos, and on this video tonight I am going to be talking with you guys about David De Gea. Also going to give you a bit more additional information regarding Solskjaer like I have been doing on a regular basis, and I also updated you about him on my previous video, and also going to give you the latest news regarding Bruno Fernandes because a lot of negativity now is coming out regarding Bruno Fernandes, and there is lots of other things to talk about. But the first topic of the development I'm going to start with is David De Gea. Now, reportedly reflecting on our 2-0 defeat to Burnley last night, there has been quite a lot of Manchester United fans saying that, Man United should sell David De Gea in this January transfer window, basically. And I think maybe a lot of United fans' preferences now is Sergio Romero, despite the fact that Sergio Romero is our second choice goalkeeper. Sergio Romero mainly plays in the cup games, obviously doesn't play in the league games, but I think Romero has kept around 34 clean sheets in 54 appearances in all competitions, and that is quite impressive. Obviously, we've got Lee Grant, who's hardly played. I think he's played like 1 or 2 games for Man United. Obviously, Dean Henderson is out on loan with Sheffield United. Whether he returns to Man United at the end of his loan or not, I do not know. David De Gea, I think overall is still regarded as one of the best goalkeepers in the world. Obviously, not at this present time. I think David De Gea is totally comparison to Allington and Edison at this moment in time. David De Gea has been a long servant at Manchester United. He's now into his 9th season with the football club. 9th season, he's endured 8 years here. But I think analysing it, he's had a good 7.5 years with Manchester United as David De Gea. So I think he's been poor in the last year or so. David De Gea has made 388 appearances for Manchester United in all competitions since his arrival from Atletico Madrid back in 2011, and I think he's kept around 133 clean sheets, basically. Obviously, at one point it was looking very imminent that David De Gea was going to be leaving the club. Don't forget, Real Madrid were in for him for several years. Real Madrid were close to getting David De Gea back in 2015, but due to a fax machine on deadline day, the deal never materialised. And obviously, the likes of Juventus and Paris Saint-Germain went in for David De Gea. We were struggling at one point, to get him that new contract. But obviously, in the end, we ended up getting him a new contract. Obviously, before he signed this new deal, De Gea was on 200 grand a week. But obviously now he's got that long-term contract. He's on £375,000 a week. So that means he's the highest paid goalkeeper at the club. He's the highest paid goalkeeper in the world, is David De Gea, basically. And I think he's now, 28 or 29 years of age. So maybe some Man United fans are now saying, where we should get rid of him. Maybe we would get a substantial amount for David De Gea, because some people believe we haven't really got a lot of money to get the players that we need. So if we can sell the likes of David De Gea and Paul Pogba, will generate quite a bit of money, to be fair and that. So, there's been a few Man United fans demanding him out because obviously you can say he was at the fault for Burnley's first goal yesterday. Chris Wood scored the first goal. David De Gea, should have really saved it. But, he's made quite a few mistakes this season. He also made quite a few mistakes towards the back end of last season. But, should Man United get rid of him? But I think overall, anyway, there's a lot of deadwood at the club, and there's a lot of players that still need to leave Manchester United this year. I think, from my own perception, we need to get rid of around 6 or 7 players this year. So that's the latest news regarding him. So, the latest news regarding Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Now, despite our 2-0 defeat to Burnley yesterday night, Man United have assured that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's job is safe for now. And obviously, of course, our board and Ed Woodward are determined to back him in this January transfer window. They're also determined to back him in the summer, because obviously, analysing the vast majority of this team, it isn't Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, so you can say in that aspect he's still in the process of rebuilding this Manchester United team. The vast majority of this team is Jose Mourinho's. There's still players here from the Louis van Gaal era. There's still a couple of players here from the David Moyes era. Well, Matt's still here from the David Moyes era. And there's still a couple of players here from the Alex Ferguson era. So take into account Solskjaer is inheriting the vast, inheriting the vast majority of them. But I did say, didn't I? I'm hopeful now. Well, I did say before I was hopeful that this team at this day and age can replicate what the team did under Alex Ferguson. But analysing it, this team is totally comparison to the team that we had under Alex Ferguson. Because we had great players under Alex Ferguson. We had the likes of, we had the likes of Robin van Persie. He won us the league back in 2013. Reflects on the amount of goals he scored. We had the likes of, Michael Carrick. He was a long-serving player for the club. We had Ryan Giggs. He endured 24 years at the football club. Was the interim manager at one point. We had Vidic and Ferdinand there with a fantastic centre-back partnership. We had the likes of Roy Keane and Gary Neville. So we had a lot of great players under Alex Ferguson. Wayne Rooney, our all-time leading goal scorer with 253 goals and that. And Solskjaer did reveal he was looking to buy into our history, but like I've said, I just don't feel as though that Solskjaer is the right manager for Manchester United. Solskjaer gave his overarching view on the 2-0 defeat to Burnley yesterday night, and he actually said, we deserved. It wasn't good enough, and he says Burnley took their chances. Rio Ferdinand gave his overarching view on the game, and he said it was an embarrassment. It was an embarrassment, and he was talking about our poor recruitment in the last 4 or 5 years was Ferdinand, and he feels as though that I've just watched some of what Rio Ferdinand had to say, and he said basically these fundamental issues at the football club, and we need to see a variety of changes. We've got to get Ole Gunnar Solskjaer out of the club. We've also got to get Ed Woodward out. Don't forget, prior to the game against Burnley, Ed Woodward had been criticised by Gary Neville. Basically, Gary Neville wants him out of the football club, reflecting on our poor recruitment in the last, 5 or 6 years. But take into account a hell of a lot of money has been spent into this football club in the last 6 or 7 years. I think we've spent nearly £1 billion on recruiting new players in. And obviously, we are known for overpaying for players. We've also got the highest wage bill in the Premier League, so we have got players on big contracts at the football club, and we're not in that commanding position, that we should be in, basically. But I thought, Rio Ferdinand come out with some good comments. But yeah, a lot of United fans are protesting Ed Woodward. They're also protesting the Glazers. I think the Glazers have owned this club now for almost 15 years. I don't think the Glazers anywhere, by the way, have got any intentions of selling the club. So I think we've got to get rid of them. We've also got to get rid of the coaching staff, because, the coaching staff aren't good enough. They're too inexperienced. Like I said, Carrick was a good player, but he's not good enough as a coaching assistant. I've got the same perception on Mike Phelan. I've got the same perception on Kieran McKenna. None of them are good enough at Manchester United, basically. So, like I said, a variety of changes are needed at the football club, definitely. But, that game against Burnley yesterday was an absolute abysmal performance. Solskjaer made two changes from the 2-0 defeat to Liverpool, and I expected us to win that game against Burnley. I expected to see a total comparison performance to what we saw against Liverpool, and Burnley are a shocking team, to be quite honest with you. And, that was our first defeat in the Premier League to Burnley at Old Trafford since 1962. That's around 58 years ago now. But, I think the main explanations why I think, Solskjaer needs to be sacked as Manchester United manager is because, we've enjoyed our worst start to a Premier League season for 30 years. This is, the worst I've ever known Man United been, especially in the Premier League era. Like I said before, I can't really remember Man United in, the 80s and that. We've enjoyed our worst start to a Premier League season for 30 years. With Solskjaer has now lost... Wait there in a minute. Solskjaer has now lost more games in the Premier League than he's won, since he became permanent manager back in March of last year. And, it's our 8th defeat of the Premier League season and our 3rd defeat of 2020 in the Premier League. And we are sitting now 6 points behind top 4. Solskjaer early on in the season gave us an update on our top 4 ambitions. And, he says Manchester United need to find that consistency if we want to finish in that top four. The only main explanation why we've been in this top four race is because Chelsea have been so inconsistent. They have been dropping points, but we've had so many opportunities this season to close the gap on Chelsea, and Manchester United just haven't done this. So I don't see us getting that top four this season. I did say we needed to get that top four this season, so it'll be a step forward, and it can create a platform, and it can give us something to build on, basically. I also don't see us getting any Solskjaer on the board this season. I wanted to get Solskjaer on the board because we have lacked Solskjaer in the last 5 or 6 years. You know, I think we've only won like 3 trophies since the Ferguson era, and that was the FA Cup under Van Gaal and the Europa League and League Cup under the Jose Mourinho era. But you know, I don't see us getting any Solskjaer on the board, so I don't see us winning the Europa League. Plus, the Europa League is another route to Champions League football. I also don't see us winning, the FA Cup. I don't see us, winning the Carabao Cup. I think Man City are going to win the Carabao Cup. So I think it's going to be a trophyless season for Manchester United, basically. But, reverting back to what I said, Solskjaer is not the right manager for Manchester United, like I said. And, I don't think Man United will sack him as yet. We won't sack him now because, like they've said, his job's safe. It's been assured that his job's safe. It got revealed out the other week how much it would cost the club to sack Solskjaer, and I think it would cost the club around £5 million to get rid of him. But don't forget, that's much cheaper than what we paid to get rid of Mourinho and Louis van Gaal. Because I think we paid around £20 million to get rid of Mourinho, and around £8 or £9 million to get rid of Louis van Gaal, basically. So I think we need to get him out of the football club. If we don't sack him, I think Solskjaer himself should resign as Manchester United manager, because I think he feels as though that he knows himself that he isn't good enough to manage this football club. I think he should resign, and like I did say on my match reaction, I think Solskjaer should just come out and say and admit and be honest, because Solskjaer seems to have a lot of honesty about him. He should just say, "No, I'm not good enough to manage a football club. We'll never forget. I'll never forget what I did for the football club." He should say, because I was a great long-serving player. I'm a legend of the club, and I adore the club. But I'm just not good enough as a manager. I think, the club job's too big for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer at Manchester United, and I think we need to recommend a manager in. We need to recommend a manager in with a proven pedigree, and a manager to the top level, and a manager, who would suit the strappings of the football club. And Solskjaer doesn't suit the strappings of the football club, despite the fact he knows the club inside out. But I think as a manager, he's totally comparison to how he was as a player, because I thought he was a fantastic player. But Solskjaer is just too inexperienced. Reverting back to what I said earlier on, I've got the same perception on Carrick and Kieran McKenna. He hasn't got that managerial experience as Solskjaer. He's an upcoming manager. He is an upcoming manager in that, but he isn't good enough for Manchester United in that. And we're not really. Man United are not really known for a sacking football club, and not all of the blame stems from Solskjaer due to our inconsistency. I said everyone, needs to take responsibility, including a lot of players, because like I said, there is a lot of players that need to leave Manchester United. But, some of the blame does stem from Solskjaer. But like I've said, my element of concerns I've got about him is that he's been tactically naive for the vast majority of this season. Some of his substitutions have been questionable. He doesn't have a plan A, he doesn't have a plan B, he just isn't the right manager for Manchester United, he's Solskjaer, because I've got too many element of concerns about him. I credit him in the aspects that, he's got a lot of trustworthy in his young players, and the young players have been given their opportunities this season, to be fair, and I think there's a lot of young players that will become a success at the football club, definitely. And Solskjaer did still confirm that he wants to continue the policy of recruiting young players into Manchester United, like he did do, last summer, yeah. So I think, we'll probably give Ole Gunnar Solskjaer until the end of the season, from my perception. Then I think, we will get him out of the football club at the end of the season. I think he's been given long enough. Solskjaer has been here now for 13 months. He's been here over a year. He's got many expectations to exceed in his second year, and the expectations are too high for him here. It is a transition period, and he's aware that, that is a transition period, and he's hopeful that Man United can get through this transition period. But, it was bad for the vast majority last year, but I think if we keep Solskjaer, we're going to enjoy a worse year this year than, what we actually saw last year. Solskjaer has been permanent boss for 10 months at Manchester United. 10 months. And analysing the vast majority of that 10-month period, he's been very, very inconsistent. But I feel as though anyway, the club should have not give Ole Gunnar Solskjaer the job on a permanent basis. Despite that we did well in that 3-month period when he was the interim manager, because we had a lot of good results in that 3-month period when he was the interim manager. I think one of the best games we had was that PSG game when we overcome that 2-goal deficit and come back to, to win 3-1 in the second leg. So that was one of his most iconic moments as a manager, to be fair. We beat Chelsea, we beat the likes of Arsenal. So we did really, really well in that 3-month period. But since he's got the job, it's been totally comparison. And he's got around 2.5 years left on his deal. But in a way, I do feel sorry for Solskjaer. Because like I said on my videos earlier on this season, whether his managerial tenure at Man United works out or not, we'll never forget, what he has done for the football club. But for my own perception, I just don't feel as though that Solskjaer has been backed enough as he should be. He wasn't backed enough last summer, and the board had actually owned up to this, and they realised that they didn't back him last summer. So he needs to be backed in these next couple of transfer windows, because this is Solskjaer's second transfer window as Manchester United manager. And, what we're on now, we've got around 8 or 9 days left of the January transfer window, and we have not yet made any signings. Solskjaer did say he was orchestrating on making around 2 signings in this January transfer window and that. And I'm going to go now onto the topic of Bruno Fernandes. Now, reportedly, according to the Daily Mail, the Daily Mail's not trustworthy. I won't take much notice of the Daily Mail. But they are now saying that reportedly our move for Bruno Fernandes is off. The main explanation for this is that reportedly Sporting Lisbon want around £68 million. And Man United are reportedly not determined to meet Sporting Lisbon's valuation. Obviously, I think they want the vast majority of this up front. But this was coming out of the weekend from the BBC in that, which is a reliable source. And they were saying Sporting Lisbon wanted around €80 million, which equates to £68 million sterling. And Simon Stone did say Man United are not determined to meet that. So due to that, the talks had stalled, basically. Reports came out earlier on today saying that, we'd reached a verbal agreement with Bruno Fernandes, but no fee has come to an agreement, basically. He said that Sporting Lisbon wanted around £50 million up front. We was only determined to pay around £45 million up front. So we're like around £5 million on there, £5 million short of their valuation. I think the club should just pay what Sporting Lisbon are demanding, because we desperately need Bruno Fernandes at this football club, desperately. And, we had an initial first bid turned down, because our first offer was around, 42 or £43 million up front, with around 25 million in add-ons. But Sporting Lisbon didn't like the structure of this offer, so they actually turned this down. But we need to get this transfer completed by the 31st of January. But Bruno Fernandes has already made it clear that his preference is a move to Manchester United. Paul Scholes has come out and he's given his overarching view on it. And he says, Man United need Bruno Fernandes because we're lacking creativity in that midfield. And that midfield is one of the priority areas where Manchester United need to strengthen up, basically. Because we look very exposed in that midfield, following the injuries to Paul Pogba and Scott McTominay, we do look very exposed in that midfield. And, Scholes has basically said, Man United should just pay what Sporting Lisbon are demanding. And we are still in negotiations with Sporting Lisbon. Since the president and Bruno Fernandes' agent had arrived in London the other week, talks have been going on persistently since then. They've obviously stalled a couple of times because the clubs can't come to an agreement on a fee. We've already agreed personal terms with Sporting Lisbon. Bruno Fernandes would be set to earn around 120 grand a week. This is what it had revealed. And obviously, George Mendes, he's been working on getting Bruno Fernandes' transfer to Man United completed. He came out yesterday and said that Bruno Fernandes will leave this year. He says he doesn't know if he will leave, though, in the January transfer window. But like I said, he'll be a great addition to the squad. He's predominantly an attacking midfielder. He can provide goals from midfield. He can create chances. He can provide assists. And, he's the type of calibre player that Manchester United do need. Don't get me wrong, Bruno Fernandes isn't enough. We need more than Bruno Fernandes in the team. We need a good 5, 6, maybe even 7 more signings. We need a striker now. Reflecting on the bad injury to Marcus Rashford. Possibly we need a right winger, and there's possibly other areas in the squad as well that need to be addressed. But that midfield is an element of concern. Bruno Fernandes has not played in the Premier League as yet, but I think if he comes to the Premier League, he can replicate what he's done in his couple of years with Sporting Lisbon in Portugal. He got his contract extended till 2023 last year. And he also spent the entirety of his career in Italy when he was younger. Bruno Fernandes is 25 years of age. He's not even in his prime yet, and he has still got a lot of years ahead of him. And I would be excited about the prospect of him playing alongside the likes of McTominay and Fred McTominay and Pogba in our midfield. McTominay and Pogba, I think are not due back until early February. So reportedly now, the Daily Mail is saying, and I think a couple of other media outlets saying that the deal now for Bruno Fernandes is off. We should have got him at the beginning of the month. We've been too busy, negotiating a fee. We should have probably got him last week before Sporting Lisbon played Benfica, because that game against Benfica was supposed to be Bruno Fernandes' last game as a Sporting Lisbon player. But I'm really becoming agitated now, with getting Bruno Fernandes on the board. We're a toxic football club. Our recruitment's poor. Like I said, we have the highest wage bill in the Premier League. We've got an average squad, we've got bad owners, we've got a bad chairman. And, to top it off, we can't even negotiate a deal with a player. That's how bad Manchester United are at the moment. But yeah, and that's the latest news regarding him. But we've also had a lot of other players on our agenda. And yes, we have, and that. Other players we've been in for, the few other midfielders that Man United have been in for, we've been in for Boubacar Soumaré, who currently plays for Lille. Now, I updated you the other day about this, and it said Man United instructed scouts to go and watch Boubacar Soumaré in action. He's attracted interest from quite a few clubs. Chelsea have been in for him. He did reportedly say he's set to decide whether to sign for Man United or Chelsea before the end of the month. So reportedly he will make a decision after the 26th of January. But reportedly now the likes of Liverpool have been in for him. Tottenham have reportedly launched a bidding for him. I think he's worth around £40 million is Soumaré from Lille. I think he's going to be leaving Lille. He's been a revelation for Lille. He's got 2.5 years left on his deal with Lille. Before he was at Lille, he began his career with PSG. So far, Soumaré has spent the entirety of his career in France. But I've read some of his stats, and I think, he's at the Premier League level now, so I think he'd do very, very well in the Premier League. He can pass the ball well, so his pass accuracy is good, his composure is good, he can score goals, he can create chances, and is only the age of 20. And operates really well in that box-to-box role. So if we miss out on Bruno Fernandes, then maybe we should look at getting him. But I think we'd see him as an adequate replacement for Herrera. And, it'd be good to get Bruno Fernandes and Boubacar Soumaré in anywhere. So yeah, he's another midfielder on our agenda. Obviously, there's still a lot of speculation going on regarding Jude Bellingham. He's also a midfielder who plays for Birmingham. Sky Sports reported out earlier on this week saying that Man United put around a £30 million bid in for Jude Bellingham. It said on Monday we'd put a £25 million offer in for him. So obviously, we've upped our offer for Jude Bellingham. But I think he's reluctant to leave Birmingham at this present time. I think he probably would be the wrong priority at the moment. Because he's only at the age of 16. He's not 17 until the summer. But I do probably believe he probably would be the wrong priority. Probably isn't at Premier League level yet. So probably needs another year or 2 years in the Championship. So probably needs to develop more. Then he will have the minerals to succeed in the Premier League, would Jude Bellingham. But I've got to say he's been a revelation this season in the Championship with Birmingham. You know, he's had a lot of starts this season. He's made a total of 25 appearances. You know, I think he started around 18 games as Jude Bellingham out of the 25 he's appeared in. And he made his senior debut at the age of 16 years and 38 days. I think he became the youngest player, you know, to make his debut for Birmingham, that is. But I think, you know, even if Birmingham are determined to let him go, they said they want to keep him on loan as part of any deal, basically. You know, I think Birmingham are hopeful that they can get him a professional contract in the summer. Yeah, but only the age of 16 is Jude Bellingham. So, yeah, I think of what I've seen of Birmingham is good, but I don't think he's ready as yet. But some players who come from the Championship tend to do well in the Premier League, so take that into account as well. So he's another midfielder on our agenda. But we've also now been in for a few strikers, like I mentioned, because obviously we've got Rashford injured. You know, Rashford has sustained a double fracture in his back. I think he's going to be out for the rest of the season. I think, you know, minimum he's going to be out until April, but he's going to be out for at least 6 weeks. I think, you know, reflects on Rashford's injury, he's to blame, is Solskjaer. Well, some of the blame stems from Solskjaer. Shouldn't have really put him on against Wolves. Now, where the goal's going to come from without Rashford in the team, because Rashford's been one of our best players so far this season. And it's a shame, you know, to see him out, but Solskjaer revealed that Rashford's injury that he's got now is totally comparison to the injury that he had earlier on in the season. But Rashford, overall anywhere, has sustained quite a few injuries as a Man United player. Rashford has now scored 19 goals in all competitions this season, 63 senior goals for the football club since he broke into the senior squad back in 2016. But it's a shame to see him out. So now I think Solskjaer says, you know, we could look into the current market for short-term deals. So he may want to get 1 or 2 players on loan. I give you the news, didn't I, regarding Edinson Cavani the other day. There's been a few teams in for him. Chelsea, Atletico Madrid are in for him. I think Atletico Madrid are emerged as the favourites to get Edinson Cavani from PSG. He's leaving PSG because the PSG director confirmed that he's put a transfer request in, so he's going to be leaving. I think Chelsea were recently put off by his wage demands. But I don't think Edinson Cavani would be the right solution for Man United. You know, I've got element of concerns about his age. He is now 32 years of age. You know, if he was to come, we'd only offer him a short-term contract. We'd probably only the most contract we'd offer him is probably an 18-month contract. Cavani's also never played in the Premier League. But I've got to admire him. I think he's had a pretty decent career with PSG. He's had a pretty decent career with PSG. You know, he's enjoyed 7 years with them. You know, he's enjoyed 7 years with them. He's currently now into his 7th season. He scored 198 goals in 293 games in all competitions. So, you know, he's PSG's record goal scorer. PSG did pay around 55 million from him from Napoli back in 2013. But the beneficial thing is he's a cheap solution. You know, I think PSG want from 15 to 20 million pounds. His current contract is due to expire at the end of the season. Is Cavani's, and so I think he'll probably end up going to Atletico Madrid. You know, I don't think he will come to Chelsea or Manchester United. So he's been one striker on our agenda. Obviously, you know, Moussa Dembele is another striker on our agenda. So basically, we need an out-and-out number 9. You know, we need a replacement for Lukaku and Sanchez, because since they've departed, you know, we've looked very exposed in that attacking line. So like I said, we are linked with a host of players. But I think it's very, very imminent that Pochettino is going to be our next manager to replace Solskjaer. You know, we've sacked 3 managers since the Ferguson era. Moyes went, Van Gaal went, and Jose Mourinho went. But we need a manager in, like I said, with a proven pedigree. And yes, we do. And I think Pochettino would be the right manager for Manchester United. I know we've had 2 world-class managers in Van Gaal and Mourinho, and it didn't work out under them. But, you know, we've just got to see what happens basically. I think the players that need to leave Man United, Jones has got to go, Rojo's got to go, Matic has got to go, Pogba's got to go, Lingard's got to go. A lot of people now saying Luke Shaw's got to go, you know, but, you know, there's still... there's still players I would be determined to keep at the football club. These players I would still be determined to keep at the club, but I would get rid, of a lot of this deadwood at Manchester United. And a lot of players have left anywhere since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's arrival. So that's the latest news regarding David De Gea, the latest news regarding Fernandes, and the latest news regarding Solskjaer. So anyway, guys, we'll be on with more videos tomorrow. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribers always. And take care. God bless. See you all again soon.